But first, our top story. Even as the family of the Indian couple arrested in Norway anxiously await the verdict on Monday, their two young children are facing the trauma of separation from their parents. If found guilty, the parents could be away for more than a year behind bars. The government of India seems reluctant to intervene in what they see essentially as a legal case.
7-year-old Sai Sriram and 2-year-old Abhiram are confused and upset. Mummy has not come back as promised and Daddy has not spoken to them even on Skype the last few days. The parents, whenever away, would always chat with the children online.
పిల్లల్ని ఒకసారి అయిపోయారు, తల్లిదండ్రులు ఒకసారి అయిపోయారు, పేరెంట్స్ కూడా అంతా పెద్దవాళ్ళు అయిపోయారు, అంతా ఏజ్డ్.
The elderly grandparents of the children are even more worried with news coming in that the prosecution in Norway has proposed a sentence of 15 months for the mother and 18 months for the father. In a statement, the Oslo police said the couple have been charged with gross or repeated maltreatment of their children by threats, violence or other wrong. The judgment is expected in Oslo District Court on Monday. Sai Sriram was taken away by the Child Protection Agency in Norway earlier this year. Family members point out that he was returned to his parents after 8 weeks only because the authorities there were convinced that it is in his best interest to be back with his parents and that his safety is not under any threat.
You wouldn't listen when you tell him the first time.
Child psychiatrist Kalyan Chakravarthy, who has been treating Sai Sriram for the last 3 months, is concerned about the child's separation from his parents and has written to the Norwegian authorities.
In the successive reports that I have faxed to the lawyers in Norway, I also put in place that the child is now, who has shown so much improvement after the separation of the parents, has slowly and steadily started to deteriorate both physically as well as emotionally. Physically, I would say because his appetite has gone down, he is not eating well. As it is, he is a very poor eater and he is not sleeping well because he would always like the cuddle of his mother to sleep.
The Indian government has come forward with consular help for the couple but seems reluctant to intervene any further. The family does not know who to turn to for help. In Hyderabad, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.
Well, for the moment, India is on a wait-and-watch mode and doesn't see this case as yet in the same way that it saw the previous case when two children were taken away from their parents in an extended child custody battle in Norway.
This is an issue that relates not to government, it relates to a private citizen and it relates to the local law of that country. Sometimes we express concern about something that happens to a citizen of our country, but within the parameters of the law as is applied by those countries. But because there is public interest and public concern, and our mission will make contact and do whatever is appropriate and necessary.
Do whatever is appropriate and necessary, but the government of India at this stage isn't committing itself to do anything more, not yet at least. Well, tonight we debate. Norway accuses the Indian couple of child abuse. Should New Delhi be cautious in helping? Well, before we get to the debate, just a little while ago, I spoke to Martha Brotrome, the lawyer for the mother of the children in Oslo, Norway. Where exactly does this case presently stand? Are you confident that the mother will be released from jail?
No, I'm sorry. I'm very afraid she will not be released. And I'm quite worried about her health condition now. It's very bad. She's definitely suffering being in jail on these conditions and being away from her children that's back in India.
Is there any evidence which has come to light, Marte, that the parents, either the mother or the father, could have hurt their children?
They didn't hurt their children. They were crying out for help here in Norway because this child, he has ADHD. Yes. And they were crying out for help for a long time, and they didn't get any help. And they did they had some difficulties handling this boy, but they didn't hurt him, and they didn't mean to do anything wrong. But they tried to get help and it didn't get help. And
so perhaps the mistake that they made, if there is a mistake, is that they didn't seek help for this child. That's what you're mentioning.
No, they tried to seek for help, but the school didn't give them help. They said, we'll help you, but they didn't get any help.
Was there any evidence, Marte, to the best of your knowledge, of any abuse of these children? Was there corporal punishment of any sort?
I definitely mean they're not guilty, but maybe the court will disagree with me. That we'll see on Monday. But if the court sentences them, we'll absolutely appeal that sentence. And I think it's wrong to keep them in prison in Norway meanwhile. And the situation here is that they kept in prison because they said that they want to stay in India waiting for the sentence, and they promised to come back if there is any need for that. And there is no reason to believe they will not, because they've done everything that's told them. They tried to do everything right here in Norway.
But Marte, once again, the same thing that I was trying to ask, is there any evidence to suggest that there was any corporal punishment on the children, that these children were beaten or assaulted in any manner? Is there any evidence?
No, I mean it's not. But it is a troubled child. He had trouble. But he got help when he came back to India last summer, this summer. He got the proper help, and that's what he needed, and that's what the parents were asking about in Norway as well for a long time.
Is it possible that the action being taken by Norwegian authorities is because there is a suspicion that there was some sort of abuse of this child?
Yes, of course, and it's okay that it was suspicious about violence, but it doesn't mean that they should be in prison right now. That's for sure. And this is a culture thing, and it's a language thing. They had to talk to the police in English. They had to meet in court and speak English. They had to read all the documents in English. And I tried to say that some of these things is very difficult to translate directly from their Indian language to English. But they didn't manage to get a proper translation. So a lot of words got lost during the translation.
Okay, so last question, bottom line, you are not aware of any abuse that these parents could have committed on that child. You are not aware of anything.
I'm aware of that this is a child. It is only the one child that has trouble. The other one isn't there anything about. But the one child that they accused the parents to be violent against, he has trouble. That's from my point of view.
Okay.
And then we'll see on Monday what the court thinks. I have to wait for that. But nothing of this, I think, should be the reason to keep them in custody now.
All right. Well, Martha Brothrom, thank you so much for speaking to us.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for Retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.